Well, good day. Welcome back to another edition of Choppin It Up with Ramel. Hey, let's get right to it. Man, last night, the World Series. What a performance that John Lester came up with. He took one back. He brought one back. He kept the Cubs alive in a do-or-die situation. He gave them a much-needed performance. And Dez Bryant, who I oftenly compare to Kobe Bryant, but the young phenom probably hit his biggest home run ever of his career to help extend the World Series. So the Chicago Cubs live on, and they don't get to see Cleveland celebrating and popping champagne on their field. But what a performance by that. I mean, it was a much-needed win, much-needed pitcher performance that they needed. They got some timely hitting, and then the flamethrower. What can you say about him? He's asked to come out there, give him 8 innings. He pitches 2 2/3, 4 strikeouts. Pretty much unhittable. He gave up a hit, but hey, he gave 8 outs. Those are the days of the old Goose Gossage that I remember back in the late 70s when he used to come out there, the bullpen for the Yankees, go out there for 2 innings, sometimes even 3, and was just unhittable. He used to come out there flamethrowing. And one thing about Chapman, he can get him up there with the best of them. 103, 104, it's easy. Just think. You've been playing for the last 2.5 hours. Maybe by the 8th inning, 9th inning, you're slightly fatigued, and here comes somebody you got to face that's throwing 103 miles an hour in the 9th inning or the 8th inning. Unbelievable. But anyway, Chicago lives on. Series heads out to Cleveland. Games resume Tuesday night. Probably more appropriate to wrap it up there for Cleveland. I still look for Cleveland to go ahead and wrap it up. I'll be surprised if it goes 7. But back to Cleveland it goes. Good win for Chicago. Now on to the Shield. I'm going to start with my Jets. Yeah, I got the hat on. A much-needed win to try to keep any playoff hopes alive. And they nearly squandered against a winless team of the Cleveland Browns. I mean, I'm looking at tweets that Joe Namath has tweeted at halftime, just bringing the youngster Bryce Pettit. And I was about to agree with him on that. Somehow another Fitzgerald dig deep and got us the win. But Jets, man, you're not looking like the 10-16 from last year. You know, us Jets fans had a lot of hope going into the season, trying to build off of that 10-6. Man, we're just a far cry from it. You know, good win tonight. The defense is not the same. That's supposed to be a staple of Todd Bowles. I have to question him on that. The offense is not the same. You can't tell me it's just because Eric Decker is out. Matt Forte is a better back than what we had last year. Bilal Powell, he's running the ball well. I don't know. I just don't get it. I'll take the win. I'll take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day. But this game here, I mean, it shouldn't have been this close. Cleveland is winless. They don't have a quarterback. They got quarterbacks lining up as wide receivers. They got wide receivers checking themselves into rehabs. I mean, come on. We got to get a better performance from the New York Jets. Todd Bowles, I applaud the hiring when you was hired. But, I mean, you got to give us something better than that. Because in my mind, I think your seat is getting a little warm there. It ain't hot. You ain't on a hot seat, but the candle is making its way nearby. I mean, it's there. So we got to have this game. We got to have this. It is no need for this to be as close as it is. But again, I'll take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day. The Giants was off this weekend, so nothing to report there. And Brandon Marshall, maybe the best wide receiver we've had since Keyshawn Johnson. But you can't be the best receiver and then lead the league in drops, man. Catch the ball. So many times I look, you're dropping the ball. Come on, you got to catch the ball, man. We need all of you. You are a playmaker. You need to catch the ball, man. Come on. Now on to the big game of the day last night. The game last night. Yes, as I mentioned previously, I'm an Eagles fan. What a game. What a game. What a game. I'll take an ugly loss than ugly win than a pretty loss. You can't lose any prettier than that. But I do got to question Doug Peterson at the end of the fourth quarter. Down regulation. You got 3 timeouts. You got Cowboys on their heel. They're backing up. 39 seconds to go. And we sit there and watch the time run out. I disagree with that. With 3 timeouts, you have a shot you never know. A muff kick, a short kick, maybe a 10, 15-yard return by Sproles. And next thing you know, you're in field goal range. No overtime needed. I think that was a blunder on the coach. Should have used the timeouts there. Made Dallas go. You're on the road. When you're on the road, you play to win. You don't play to tie. You don't play conservative. You play to win. You're on the road. You play to win. I disagree with that movement there. Should have used the timeouts. But nevertheless, great duel between the 2 rookies. Dak Prescott, Carson Wentz. I mean, the defense was giving them all that they got. Both ends. They took some pressure. They made some right throws. Carson Wentz may have had the better of the game up until the last drive of the game. What can you say? Just a great game. 2 division rivals, pretty much that don't like each other. What a game. What a game. It was a great Sunday night game. You can't ask for anything more than that if you're a fan of the game. You got what you want. Let's talk about the Cowboys for a second. As an Eagles fan, I was hoping that Jerry Jones inserted Ramel. But after watching this game, I am now convinced that Ramel will make history as the highest paid backup in the game. Dak Prescott, with the great fortunes of playing behind this great offensive line, has secured his job to the end of the season. Dallas brass will be making a huge mistake if they remove him now. This guy doesn't wilter, man. He just doesn't fold. The guy, he plays like he's been there. Elliott runs like he's been there, man. I've never seen 2 rookies so poised and confident in my life in the same huddle doing what they're doing. If you're a Cowboy fan, you got reasons to be happy, reasons to smile. You got something special brewing in the kitchen. I mean, you're looking at the next 5 to 7 years, if not longer. It could be the revival or the repeat of Aikman and Emmett with Dak and Elliott. I'm an Eagles fan, but as I told y'all before, I may be a fan of a team, but I'm a fan of the sport. And game recognized game, and I won't be doing any justice to the game if I didn't recognize the talents and the efforts and abilities of this Dallas Cowboys. Dez Bryant comes back. They don't skip a beat. You know, he's not a distraction with it's me. I don't see Dak force feeding it. I mean, it's just a wonderful performance by those 2 rookies week after week. I thought maybe with the bye week it might interrupt their momentum. Did not. They just take on their winning ways. And what's impressing me about the Dallas Cowboys more than anything else, the rookies are impressing me. That's probably the most. But this defense, which was not noted for a good defense, man, I don't know. Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's just rubbing off of what Dak and Elliott, the energy they bring. This defense is getting after it, man. They're a solid bunch. They're much improved. It's not the same defense from last year. I got to give these guys some credit. You know, winning is contagious. That's the thing. You get a taste of winning, it's contagious. It's fun. Everybody loves it. They're involved. You know, everybody's making a difference. You know, people are coming in, whether it's assist on a tackle, just a breakup on a pass play. Yeah, this Dallas team, they look like they're going to be around. They're going to be around for a while. I got to acknowledge them. They look like they're going to be around for the long run. They look like they're poised to make a deep run in the playoffs, bar no major injuries. Doesn't matter who's in the lineup. Doesn't matter who's catching the ball, who's dropping the ball. They find a way to get it done. And that's why I say to Peterson, you got to go for the win in regulation. You don't let this be decided in OT. You don't. Poor judgment on his behalf might have just cost him a playoff spot, because now the Eagles at 4-3 with 2 division losses, they might need to run out with 8 games. Let's see, 4-3 with 9 games left. Eagles might need to win 7 of the next 9 and beating both Redskins and Cowboys. So at least both of those games will be at home. That might be an advantage there. But what a great game. Throughout the association, outside of the New England Patriots, revenging the loss early in the year to Buffalo, blowing them out. Relatively speaking, most of the games was close. You had the game over in London. That resulted into a tie. How weird is that? The second tie of the season, back-to-back weeks. Incredible. You had Washington and Cincinnati with a tie. Then you had the Falcons squeak one out in the final minutes against the Packers at home, which was a good win for them, because another loss with them, and it would have the same feel as last year. And the fans down in Atlanta would probably been screaming for the head of Quinn. So, good to see Cam and Carolina get back into their winning ways. I know he feels good about that. He needed that in the worst way. I mean, has it been 2 disappointing teams out there this year? Any more disappointing teams than Arizona and the Carolina Panthers? You can throw the Jets in that pot. But, I mean, Arizona, many people had them pegged for the Super Bowl. Carolina, many people had them a surefire repeating in their division, possibly contending for a Super Bowl. And it doesn't look like neither one of them is going to get there, bar some major miracle happens for Carolina and both Arizona. Seattle gets upset by the Saints. So like I said, a lot of things was going on. Great game between Oakland and Tampa Bay. And Oakland set the record for a record that I don't think any team would want. The most penalties in a game. 23 penalties in a game. Let me repeat that. 23 penalties in a game. That's just unheard of. I mean, that there should have you running laps around the stadium when you get back to town, man. That's just unheard of. That's a recipe for disaster. I mean, to have 23 penalties and win a game, I mean, that's incredible in itself. That's hard to believe. So a good week of football. Still got a Monday night game to go. But kudos to Dallas. Eagles, keep your head up. Got to make a run. We're going to go over into the association before closing. Not much to report. Russell Westbrook, he just joined the ranks of, I believe it's Magic Johnson, Oscar Robertson, and Jerry Lucas as the only players to record triple-doubles twice in their first 3 games. I mean, he has that dubious honor. He recorded another triple-double today at home against the Lakers. The Lakers has now dropped 2 after that stunning opening day win against Houston Rockets. So look for the Lakers to have a pretty challenging season, but they may be fun to watch. But Russell Westbrook, getting it done with another triple-double. And here's something that might go under the radar. Mutombo played 5 years with the Denver Nuggets. One of his most famous moments with the Denver Nuggets was when they upset Seattle in the first round of the playoffs. One of the first times the 8 seed beat a number 1 seed, and you see him laying there on the floor there on the court with the ball, just so excited and overjoyed. But for the 5 years he was there, Denver Nuggets really rewarded him by retiring his jersey. Didn't see that coming, but you know what? Couldn't happen to a better guy. Mutombo was always one, played the game hard, played the game well, was one of the best shot blockers the game seen, good rebounder. So kudos to him. But hey, that's another edition of Chopping It Up with Ramel. Hey, don't forget, send your requests, comments. If it's anything you want me to talk about, I'll be more than glad to do so. Listen, Chopping It Up with Ramel, sports talk from a fan's point of view. Peace and blessings. See you guys tomorrow.